Hello, good morning students. Welcome to our YouTube channel Nath online classes. Today, I Vidyasagar is present in front of class 8 to discuss subject science with all of you. The chapter name is metal and non-metals. So please like the channel, share and subscribe it. This is very important chapter in many aspects. So you have to understand these things one by one so that you can get more and more benefit from it. Now let us start the discussions. Here I am going to discuss about metals and non-metals. So first of all, I have written all the synopsis given here related to these chapters. In these chapters, first of all, I will explain about introductions of metals and non-metals and properties. It includes two types. One is physical and second is chemical properties. And usage. After discussion of properties, I will explain about usage of metals and non-metals. After that, I will explain about its occurrence and some novel metals. And then I will explain about alloys. After that, corrosion of some metals. I will look it and allotropy and allotropic forms of carbon. Then at last I will explain some important other allotropic form of carbons. So these are the synopsis we have to explain about these things in your textbooks. It is given. So let us start the discussions. So first of all, you know about metal and metal non-metals. Both have different things in their properties, in their texture, in their luxure, and in their metallics properties. What is these properties? Let us come to explain it. You have seen. First of all, I am going to explain about introductions about metals and non-metals. Then I will explain all these things one by one. So please listen and watch the videos carefully, and I hope you will learn more and more and try to understand all these things carefully. So in the introductions of metals and non-metals, I want to say there are 118 elements, in which some elements are man-made, but most of the metal elements are natural. Almost 92 elements are natural and rest are man-made. First things you should remember about it, that the existence of elements is seen from the ancient times. In about 5000 BC, lead was extracted by rock rich in lead in northern Mesopotamia. 9000 years ago, Turkey copper was discovered and obtained by cutting shiny rocks. The ancient Egyptians got iron from fallen meteorites. So, iron is also called as sky metals. And in ancient times, only 8 metals are discovered, such as iron, gold, silver, copper, tin, and lead. Mercury and antimony were known, but after 18th century, the total 20 metals were known. So these are the introductions about metals and non-metals. Now, how we can able to describe the difference between metals and non-metals? So these differences based upon the two properties mainly. First is physical properties and second is chemical properties. Physically, some metals and non-metals are same, but their chemical properties never became same. It means they cannot have similarities in reactivity series. So the main differences depends upon the chemical properties. And one things you will note in these explanations, there are some properties regarding metals and non-metals that differentiate completely non-metals from metals. So let us start the discussion about properties. There are two types of properties. First is physical, second is chemical. In physical properties, I will explain states of metals and hardness, luster, density and strength, malleability, ductility, conductivity, sonority, melting point and boiling points, and tensile strength. So these are the physical properties I will explain, and the chemical properties. In chemical properties mainly I shall explain chemical reactions with oxygen, water, acid, dilute acids, and displacement reactions, reactions with chlorine, reactions with hydrogen, reaction with sulfur, reaction and reactivity series. These are the chemical properties we have to discuss in this video. Now let us start the discussions about physical properties. Physical states: metals are solids at room temperatures except mercury, gallium and cesium. These are the metals found in liquid state at room temperatures. Hardness: metals are more harder. Metals are harder than non-metals. Generally, lusters: metals are more luster than non-metal. Density and strength of metals is more than that of non-metals. Malleability and ductility properties is also more than the non-metals of metals. Thermal conductivity and electricity conductivity properties acquired with metals but not with non-metals. It means metal is the conductor of heat and electricity, but non-metals is not conductor. It means it is insulators of heat and electricity. You have to remember. Sonority: when we beat the metals, it produced sonorous sounds. And melting and boiling points. Melting points of iron, different metals vary differently, but one things you should keep it in mind that the melting points of metal is more than non-metal, except some examples as for sodium and magnesiums. And tensile strength: metals can be stretched to some degree without breaking. This property is termed as tensile strength. Gold, platinum and silver have high tensile strength. So please remember all these things. Now let us discuss about the chemical properties of metals. Chemical properties. In these properties we will discuss how metals combines with other elements to produce the new products. In chemical properties, we take reactant and substrate, reagent, and at last I will give a product. After the reactions, first the metal when react with air, it means when we burn the metals, then metal oxide is obtained. As for example, when oxygen is burned with when sodium is burned with oxygen, then sodium oxide is produced with water. When metal is reacted with water, then metal hydroxide is yielding as a product. As for example, when sodium is react with hydrogens, then sodium hydroxide is formed and hydrogen gas evolved. Order of reactivity of metals with water. Here it is given sodium is most reactive with water, after that magnesium, after that iron, and after that copper. The symbol of the metals you should remember, and you should remember all the symbols of the metal, at least 50 elements symbol you should remember completely. Symbols, atomic mass, atomic symbols, atomic mass, and atomic number also you should remember. Symbols, atomic number, and atomic mass, you should remember all these things. Now, reaction of metals with dilute acids. Metals always react with acids in dilute form. When it reacted with acids, then metallic oxides and metallic salts formed. As for example, when sodium reacts with hydrochloric acids, its symbol is 2HCl, and when reaction takes place, then salt formed of sodium, 2NaCl, and hydrogen gas evolved. The reactivity series of metals with acids is given here. Sodium is most reactive metals, after that magnesium, then aluminum and zinc both have the same reactivity with acids, then iron, and then copper. So these are the reactive series of most reactive metals and the least reactive metals. Now metals also displace the less reactive metal from its salts. These types of reaction is called as displacement reactions, and in this reaction metallic salt plus metal is reacted to give the metallic salt of more reactive metals. Here metallic salt of less reactive metals, when reacted with the metals that is more reactive than these metals, then the metallic salt of more reactive metals formed, plus less reactive metals displaced by more reactive metals. As for example, when copper is copper sulfate CuSO4 is reacted with Fe hydrogen gas, iron, then FeSO4, because Fe is more reactive than copper with in aqueous solutions, then copper is displaced from its salt, and we obtained pure coppers in solid forms. Now reactions with hydrogens. When metal is reacted with hydrogen, then metallic hydride is formed. As for example, 2Na. Sodium when react with hydrogen gas, then we obtain sodium hydride. So these are the reactions of metals with hydrogens. Now reactions with metal oxides. When less reactive oxides of metals react with metals of more reactive metals, then metal oxides of more reactive metals formed, plus metals less reactive metals displaced in this way. As for example, when copper oxide is react with magnesium, then magnesium oxide is formed and copper is displaced. And when metal react with chlorine, then metallic chloride is formed. In the same way, when metal react with sulfur, then metallic sulfide is formed, then metallic sulfide is formed. So these are the reactions of metals with some important elements and compounds. Now locate the reactivity series. Here you have to remember table 4.4 given on your textbook. You have to remember table 4.4 for reactivity series. Reactivity series. So these are the HW. This is the HW for you. I hope you have understood all these things. In the next video I will come again with some important discussions. Till that I want to say goodbye. Thank you. See you.